So now we move into a power talk that explores how artificial intelligence is not only transforming industries, but redefining our very way of life. I would like to welcome on stage Mr. Metodija Mirchev to talk about the new era, how AI redefines our world. Mr. Mirchev.
Do we have the slides? Murphy's all around. Okay. Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you very much for having an opportunity to participate on this event. Honestly speaking, I was following with utmost attention the previous panels because both previous panels actually were about the AI, an excellent panel, by the way. And it actually brings a little bit of a reflection, a flashback, because on the same summit, you know, the same room, the same chair, on the same topic, I was also panelist 1 year ago. True, it was 1 year ago, if you recall. And then, you know, this 1 year passed like 1 day. And I recall, you know, Nikita called me, you know, prior to that summit, and she said, Meto, you know, we are organizing a traditional summit, and we would like to have a panel discussion about the AI, because this is the new emerging trend, and, you know, you work in the high-tech industry, so would you be interested to join this panel? I said, of course, because, you know, I love innovation. I was just visiting actually Harvard and doing, you know, this leadership training program on innovation. I said, why not? And now, you know, when I make this 1 year gap analysis, and there was a lot of discussion even on the previous panels, the evolution of the AI in this 1 year is enormous. I recall I was, you know, preparing for my speech then, and we have the ChatGPT, you know, the OpenAI AI, which was just getting some market traction. NVIDIA was, you know, booming because clearly you need a chipset, you know, for the training of the models and for running the models. And basically all the other big high-tech companies were trying to do a catch-up game. Now, if we go only 1 year ahead, the situation is totally different. Yes, we have still the OpenAI and the ChatGPT, which is actually, you know, driving the business, the front runner of the revolution. But also we have other platforms, other AIs, other LLMs, which are already on the market, and basically they are operational. All the big high-tech, you know, companies, they already joined the AI game. If we can, you know, Llama from Meta, Copilot from Microsoft, that was also discussed, Grok from Elon Musk, Gemini, which is Gen AI from Google. And definitely we do see a huge transformation in that era. On the other side, what is also worth mentioning is that we have a new power which is rising, and that was also mentioned on the previous panels, and this is China. Let's not forget, you know, this boom on the technological level which is happening in China, and we know it was only 6 months ago when the DeepSeek was launched. And it's basically, you know, a highly innovative LLM, you know, the AI model, which has the similar performance like the Western counterparts, but basically running only for the fraction of the cost, both for the training, but also for, you know, for management. This is the guidance given by PwC, and I will be a little bit provocative because I was listening about, you know, the previous discussion, and this is actually the guidance about what the AI will contribute, or the impact, and I will underline the word impact or contribute to the world economy in 2030. And just to put the discussion into context, this is not billions of euros, this is trillions of euros, okay? And this is actually, just to have the right sizing, this is approximately 12 to 13% of the global GDP. And this is, as I mentioned, the contribution. This is not the sole value creation or the GDP growth which AI will contribute on the world economy, talking again about the cutoff date of 2030. And this comes from two major components. The one component is the productivity gain. And yes, we are talking about increasing the productivity of the human beings, but then there is a direct substitution. And let's be fair, this is actually what AI is bringing. On the other side, and this is in vicinity of $7 trillion, which is going to be the contribution of the AI on the global economy if we're referring to the productivity gain. The other 9 trillions, it's basically the value creation from the AI in different use cases which are going to be implemented. And actually, they're already implemented around the globe. And this is something which we are going to touch upon later on in discussion. There is also a very interesting outlook provided by McKinsey. I like, these big consultant companies because, they manage to gather the data from around the globe. So here we have the PwC, we have McKinsey. McKinsey estimates that by year 2030, so basically they have the same cut-off date, approximately 25% of all jobs are going to be automized. So basically we're talking about the direct substitution of human beings with artificial intelligence, bots, AI agents, you name it. So we're talking about $16 trillion impact on the global economy. What is also interesting is how this is distributed around the globe. So it's not evenly distributed. It's very interesting. 7 trillion goes to China. Surprise, surprise. 3.5 trillion goes to US. And this is also a very interesting fact because basically the China versus US economy, it's not ratio 1 to 2. So either we are talking about basically, and definitely we're going to talk about that, it's more the productivity gain, but also the adoption of AI in different use cases in China especially. Now, there was a lot of discussion previously about the strategic opportunities. We are talking about streamlining processes, and it was already mentioned from my fellow colleagues prior to lunch on the 2 panels. So basically, it's streamlining processes. So wherever you have a complex process, a lot of interdependencies, cross-functionalities, a lot of data, a lot of products /services /solutions which are, driven throughout that process. Here, actually, the AI fills in a natural habitat because in real time, it can analyze a lot of data and basically increase the efficiency. And this is something which is already in use. This is something, for example, Walmart, one of the biggest retailers in the US. It's already using the AI for stock management and supply chain optimization and brings billions of dollars in cost savings. R&D, we are talking not only pharma, the pharmaceutical industry, not only pharma. We know that in the pharma, the biggest cost component of the drug is not the production cost, it's actually the research and development, it's how to develop actually that active ingredient. And here actually we have already AI which is put in force. We all, hopefully all, we all used to use corona vaccines, and this AI was used to develop the corona vaccine, both from Pfizer and both from Moderna. So basically here is how to shorten the R&D time window, reduce costs, reduce the time to market, and basically be in a position to serve the needs of the market, and definitely lower the cost, which then provides incremental competitiveness. And clearly, it's not only about the pharma, it's also about, we had occasion to see the kitchen and the cabinets, right? This was the use case. Actually, it's also the prototyping and how AI is influencing this kind of innovation process. And yes, it's customer experience. By the way, I come from the telco industry. Sorry, maybe I was supposed to mention this at the beginning for all of you who doesn't know that I'm from the high tech, but actually from the telecommunication, and the personalization, it's the name of the game. We all use different kinds of products and services, solutions on a global level, and we want to be treated as individuals. We don't want to be treated as one of, all of us, but basically, this personalization is the driving force. And here actually, again, the AI in a position to analyze all the complexity and the data which we are collecting and referring to the telco industry, and actually deriving a value proposition which is designed specifically for that individual is something which actually is a potential for leveraging the power of the AI. Talking about the industries, yes, telecommunication. I will put here a little bit of numbers. Our group, A1 Macedonia, is part of Telekom Austria Group, and the Telekom Austria Group is part of America Mobile, which is Carlos Slim, by the way. We are employing something like 200,000 people around the globe. And we have approximately 20,000 people working in contact centers. It is estimated, and that's why I told that I'm going to be a little bit provocative, just to picture what actually the AI is going to bring. It is estimated by in 3-year time, 80% of the inbound calls in the contact centers is going to be served by AI agents. So basically a You're going to talk to a machine in your native language. And basically, it's not only about the efficiency and basically reducing operational expenses in your P&L, reducing FTEs, but also it's about customer experience evolution. Healthcare, there was a discussion about the healthcare. And to be frank, I was 3 weeks ago on a very interesting presentation, not in Macedonia, actually not even in Europe, about how AI is evolving the healthcare. Not only about the outcome predictions or cost optimization, but basically it's how to manage, the healthcare resources. And this was an AI agent which was based on a smartphone. When you're basically inputting your blood tests, if you have some skin rash, you're just taking a picture, providing some simple data, and actually AI provides the diagnosis and the therapy. Or if it cannot solve because you need some serious medical attention, basically it's redirecting to the certain doctor which actually can solve this issue. And this is how actually you are managing resources in the healthcare, which are expensive, and finally, increase the customer care or the customer experience. Finance, real-time fraud detection. We as a telco industry, but also banks, we are running AIs for the fraud detection. And this is actually where JP Morgan is already invested, and it saves billions in the real time because it's analyzing, gathering the data from all surrounding systems and be in a position to identify in a real time the potential fraud. And this is something which actually saves billions in that respect. Retail, I mentioned Walmart, but here actually it's more of a physical presence in the brick and mortar shop and how to actually personalize the experience. And already Sephora, I think the ladies, they know what is Sephora because it's one of the biggest European retail chains dealing predominantly with perfume and cosmetics. They're already using AI to actually personalize the customer experience within the shops. And last but not least, it's manufacturing. I was very, interested in a discussion which suddenly emerged about manufacturing. You all know Xiaomi, right? Xiaomi is the third biggest. I'm coming from telco, so this is something which is more close to me. Xiaomi is the third biggest, Mike, you coming from Motorola, so very close, Xiaomi is actually the third biggest producer of mobile phones, smartphones on a global level. So we have Samsung, we have Apple, and then we have Xiaomi. Xiaomi is already in China, they're running dark factories, which actually has end-to-end production of mobile phones. It's fully robotized, fully automized, managed by AI, and it's called a dark factory because there is no light inside, because there are no humans. And this refers, to this impact, how actually the AI is going to transform our world. Not only Xiaomi, it's also Huawei, they're producing, and the rapid increase in the automation, robotization, and basically implementing AI in different use cases in in US, and China is amazing. What is ahead of us? And basically there are 3 streams. First, the generative AI. Basically, we are at this moment in a world which actually generative AI is a fact. So it's not only data input, data output, and this was actually something which was discussed. Yes, good data, good data in, good decision out. We're talking about generative AI, which actually is creating content. It's not only text, videos, music. We are already trialing in the industry to leverage generative AI for planning and designing and deployment of infrastructure. This is something which is also critical. And AI agents, it's linked with the next stage of the evolution of the LLMs. LLM is the large language model, a big, robust system which is based on the neural networks, which you put in a data center in the cloud, basically, feed it with the data, then actually different types of learning models, and actually you have a LLM which is producing certain percentage of probabilities, and then basically you're leveraging. But at the end of the day, if you're talking about agents, it's not wise to use a huge model. It's wise to use specialized models for different job positions, let's say. So it's, instead of running a huge models which are trained also in the pharmacy and, dealing with the prepaid contact center issues, it doesn't make sense. So basically you make a specialized AI agents which are more light, more cost efficient, and basically they're fully specialized and at the end of the day scaling human expertise, and this is something which is coming. And these agents, they're so light that basically they're going to sit, they're already sitting in your phones, mobile phones, you all have smartphones, and it's going to sit in all, the IoT devices, which cross-connected devices around the globe, which actually are going to evolve into the AIoT devices. And definitely there was a lot of discussion, and fully agree with this. This is actually the AI which is going to preserve the compliance, trust, and governance, because at the end of the day, yes, we are dealing with sensitive data. It's not only about the telecommunication industry, it's also about banking, the public sector, because we as a telco industry, we are generating, processing, and storing critical data. It's actually your data, your communication data, location updates, transactional data, everything you're doing on a daily basis. Even right now, we are actually gathering, processing, and storing. So we do not want to have any situation when we are going to implement, an AI and then having actually the degradation of the data or actually misuse. So this is actually a separate stream which is going to develop, is how to implement or how to impose the regulation, compliance, and trust on the AI part. Yes, at the end of the day, this is also an interesting fact. I was reading yesterday, 75% of companies in the US, they already use AI or they're about to implement AI. So basically, it's a game on. So if you do not implement any AI, yes, it's complexity, it's problem, it's different industries and everything, but then basically you lose agility, you lose operational efficiency, and you lose actually the competitiveness of the market. There was a lot of discussion, not only today, but also yesterday about, the talents, the experts, let's say talents, how you are attracting, recruiting, and retaining talents. And now we know that actually the talent management is something of a critical importance, and one of the biggest scores which always was popping up in each and every discussion, it was actually the education and talents. And definitely we have to also take into account that the top talents, they want to work in innovative companies. They don't want to work in a company which is stuck in the middle age, but they want actually to work in a company which is innovating, especially in the field of the AI. And definitely, as we discussed, customers, they expect constantly increasing customer experience. So if you do not implement the AI, you're going to lose also the customer, I would say, focus, and definitely the customer expectations. It's not easy. It's absolutely not easy. We are working in a high-tech industry. It's extremely complex. A lot of systems, a lot of issues, technical, regulatory, legal, complexity with different platforms and systems. Yes, the data, in our case, the data is not a problem because we have a very structured data, because we are collecting, trillions of gigabytes on the data. But definitely it's difficult to move forward. But the world is moving, and definitely we have to catch up. It depends on the industry, but then you have to run the due diligence and to identify, and I love here the saying of Mike, think big, act small, and move fast. And this is actually the example. So yes, you have to have the vision where you want to be, because the 2030 is going to be tomorrow. Identify the elements where you can actually act now and move it fast, because otherwise, you're going to be outrun and outpaced by competition. There are different sizes of companies. There was a discussion about the SMEs. We are a conglomerate, so basically you have to assess, based on the due diligence, what is the right sizing, whether you're going to develop your own AI model, maybe not developing your own AI model, but basically modifying for your needs, or you're going to leverage the third party, because now you have also the open source, cloud-based AIs, which you can, and there was also a discussion that it's not actually very difficult to embed in your operations, in your processes, and definitely it's about governance. So whatever you do, definitely think about, the governance, trust, because this is something, and compliance, because this is something which is of a critical importance for the future of the AI. And I would like to thank you, because I have only 15 minutes, and I think, thank you. And you gave me the worst job. I am the only one on the stage presenting as a keynote speaker. on the last day of the summit after the lunch. But I think I raised your attention and the energy. Thank you very much.